Yes.
So let's begin. We start in October, I believe.
Well, I've got October, so cast your mind back to then. Now October started fairly straightforwardly with, you could tell that there wasn't an awful lot in the news because we're doing stories like this. Elon Musk has basically done a bit too much noticing, and he's gone down to the southern border, which is an important issue. Millions of illegals flooding in and changing the demographics of the world's superpower so that it becomes irretrievably left wing and broken. But it is a slow news topic. I mean, it's not necessarily what you default to. One.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because in any other normal time and place, that kind of plan of what if we have the country invaded by a load of illegals so that we can destroy the country, that's kind of news, right? It's kind of a news story.
Yes.
But it's not new.
Yes.
It hasn't been for like 10 years.
It doesn't have the new bit of news. But anyway.
To be fair, though, I mean, it has massively gotten worse since Joe Biden took office. We went through.
Oh, yes.
Well, I think it's like 4 or 5 times worse than Donald Trump.
To be fair, everything has got worse since Joe Biden
came in. That is true.
So you're competing with Joe Biden worst. But anyway, so October started a bit slow with that. I think that was one of your sections. That was quite good. So I highlight that. Then where do we go? Oh yeah, I did a segment on Sweden discovered that actually you can just do mass deportations of people that are undesirable. They basically had one too many hand grenade attack or whatever it was, and they just thought, actually, we don't need to live like this, so we sorted out. Now, the reason I highlight this is because everybody else in the world thought, no, you can't do that, until 2 weeks later when something happened. I won't spoil it. And then everybody else started doing this as well.
God, I love when something happens.
Yes. Well, I mean, it was a bit of bad. But anyway, right. So then, because we're still in a slow news bit, and nobody wants to talk about Ukraine anymore because that had been going on for 8 months, and even the media was getting fed up with that. We then had a bit of a silly couple of weeks, and then we then did. Yes, this is one of yours, Gallum. This is the best country to be black MS Paint edition.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I saw some maps of people talking about that Britain was the best country in the world to be black, and some people saying no, it's
some
worse.
Some politician made the case that actually was it Kemi Badenoch?
Well, someone said it was the worst, and then she turned around and went, "No, it's the best."
Yes,
I'm from Nigeria. You guys have never left London.
Yes, and then you just basically decided
all right, well, anyway, shall we begin with?
I'll turn the sound off. You equipped yourself with a copy of MS Paint. There we go, and basically decided to try and.
Well, I wanted to get myself cancelled, so I thought I'd just try. Right. So we did the best country to be black and the best country to be white, and then the worst and the best for being black and white. And I still had a job at the end of it, which was a shame. So.
Well, I've made a note here of 1325. So let's have a look at.
So did the audience.
1320. Right, what happens here?
This is where we're colouring in the world.
Oh, yes.
Be even more.
I've got no idea when it comes to South America.
Well, I remember seeing that data from earlier, so I'm just going to do that. There we are.
Oh, okay.
Big tick. There we are.
Right.
How about Africa? I feel like if you're black in Africa, there's no disadvantage.
Yeah, but who goes? People come from there. They don't go to there.
And the thing is, there's large areas of Africa where it's not good to be anyone.
Well, this is my thing. I mean, I thought about this question for long and hard, and I thought, okay, well, if I'm a black guy, I think the way you could rate whether it's a country that's the best to live in or not depends on just do you get an advantage or disadvantage for being black. And I think probably let's draw a line here, like this. You got no disadvantage because you're the majority.
Anyway, so as you can see, that was jolly scientific, and
indeed
it was a breakthrough in terms of Lotus Eater's
research.
Yes,
as a single researcher in any university dared to discover where it's okay to be black.
Yes. Well, not just that, but it was a technical innovation of doing a live on-air MS painting. I've never seen that before in a news show.
Am I submitting this for our best moments now?
I wouldn't go that far. But anyway, the point is, we were in silly season. What came next in silly season? Yes, I did a segment that I was quite happy with, which was on ex-current things. So let's just play this with the sound off, just so you sort of get the gist. But basically, I noticed that look, my concern is no bloody hell, I'm pressing the wrong button. Right. So my concern is
we don't have Carl. You don't have to fill in the boomerism.
Like there's stuff in the news quite a lot, right? and people get very, very excited by it, and think it's all terribly important. And I was basically just pointing out that this shit just sort of just goes away after a while, and everybody forgets about it. And more to the point, people then look back and think, yeah, that thing was completely absurd.
Or a complete waste of my time.
Yes, but
I don't know how many people actually do cotton onto it.
Yes, but the point I was making is that to some of us, probably the people who watch this channel, is we thought it was absurd at the time, and it's really weird when you live like that, because there's always a new thing that comes along, and like most of your friends, family, and colleagues think that this is like a really important issue, and you're just like, no, this is complete bollocks. And it just keeps happening.
This is just the newest way to steal more money from me.
Yes. So the examples I came up with was Brexit. Right, that was a big thing. People were getting very passionate about that, and about how the world was how Britain was going to be destroyed if we Brexited. Snakes coming out of taps and all that kind of stuff. This one, most people have forgotten. Plastic straws. If you remember, plastic straws about 4 years ago was the hot topic that everybody was getting excited about.
Just a sidetrack. So
Yeah.
when you've recently come back from going on holiday to Asia, I
Yes.
get the same thing in Russia. I imagine you do, but tell me if I'm wrong. Where you get out of Europe and suddenly you're allowed plastic straws again,
Yes.
and you get little plastic bags for free in shops.
Yes, plastic everywhere.
Proper civilization, isn't it?
Yes, they are miles ahead of us in the whole civilization game. Right, plastic straws was bloody ridiculous, right? And after that, there was going to be a deadly virus, and we were all going to die.
Yeah.
Except some of us are saying, no, that's bollocks. And but basically everybody else that we knew was absolutely terrified about dying of a deadly virus, and it just went right. Then it was BLM and all that kneeling shit. I don't know, the football team.
You notice every point of this, it is stealing something from us.
Yes.
I mean, like they took our plastic straws,
Yes.
and then they took our freedom, locked us up, made us all poor.
That's
and then
definitely that.
And then they took any dignity from us by deciding that if you're white, you're evil. In that example with the BLM
Yes.
stuff. I mean, what's your next one?
Well, my next one actually, my next one was a Chinese spy balloon.
Okay, that was just taking the piss.
Yes, it was. I mean, and it turned out, and the Pentagon released later. And that's what inspired me actually to look at this thing. Is like 2 months later, the Pentagon released a note saying, "Yeah, well, it actually was a weather balloon, and it probably cost like $1,000."
The Chinese probably have balloons.
Yes, and we spunked a $375,000 missile shooting it down, and it was just a standard weather balloon, actually.
I do kind of like that though.
Yes.
Like America is the global hegemon. I do like to see them go overboard. Just sometimes. Do you not get that? Where it's like, if you're going to be in charge, you've got to be the one that spends $1 billion just to kill one guy and all of his family members. It's like, okay, well, that's why he's in charge. He's mental.
Yeah,
I mean, loads of money.
I suppose there is some certain charm to it, but
Yeah.
my point is more that we live in a world where you are surrounded constantly by people who think that all of these things are genuinely real issues to get excited and motivated about.
Man,
And
George
we'll
Floyd was
start-
killed, bro.
yes.
We got to burn down the city, bro.
Yes, and we'll start social mediaing and stuff, right? And these people that we have to live with, they think that the politicians and the news people are basically just honest and earnest.
Yeah.
Yes. And actually what we live in is something closer to a clown world. But like medieval jousting where they just like ride clown bikes at each other honking. And we have to sit there taking it seriously as if it is medieval jousting. And I can't do it.
Hi folks, sorry to interrupt the video, but I just wanted to announce that we have a new line of merch in our merch store. The merch store was kind of empty for a while, and so I thought, right, okay, what do I actually want on shirts? And so I just went through some of the most epic and true things that I think that historical people have said, and John managed to make an amazing set of merch out of it. And we will have extra things coming in the store, such as posters for these to go on. Thanks for everything, folks. Now back to the video.
I've come to the conclusion that an IQ any higher than 130 is just a curse, basically. So there was a film Gattaca. I don't know if you remember that one. It's a bit of an old film now, where basically people started genetically engineering their kids to be smarter and stuff. And I'm saying that when that technology arrives, and it will probably arrive quite soon, do not give your kid a high IQ. Basically, give them a 110, right?
What, let him enjoy the clown car?
Yes. Yes, because if you're at 110, you're basically smart enough to understand the concept of ideas, but not take them apart. So you can have the joyous certainty of going through life thinking that you know stuff, and like having opinions, and like the entire media establishment backs you up on all of your opinion. You don't realize,
But you don't actually have any opinions. You just get them off them and then say your own.
but you just be happy your whole life.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're smart, the world is basically just torture.
I have met a few people like that, especially when I've interacted with Lib Dems, I must say. Because like with the Labour guys, I watch their conferences. Those guys are genuinely struggling in the mental capacity. I mean, a lot of them come up and they're proud of that. That's their claim to fame, that they're neurodivergent or something. But when you interact with the Lib Dem types, I overwhelmingly do find people who think that they're doing good and you're doing bad. And the reason for that is because they've been told they're doing good. And it's like,
yes,
you actually think the clown is a politician who likes you.
Yes. Yeah, and
you think the prostitute loves you. What are you doing?
Yes, and then they're never going to get through it. So I shouldn't say this.
Go for it. We can censor it. It's a pre-record.
Oh, that's a point. Yes. The 110 community.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
They do make up a decent
13%.
chunk of our YouTube comments. But not all of them.
Oh no.
Not all of them. No, there are some genuinely good comments.
I disagree with this like cynicism about our YouTube audience. I think it's bollocks, to be honest.
Right. Okay. No, I like them in general. I'm just saying that I'll cover it later.
All right.
But yeah, there is a contingent of the 110s there who don't get any jokes or. Yeah, I'll move on.
I think they just don't get your references sometimes.
Possibly. Right, next one. While we're still in silly season, we've got this lovely video. You should watch it on the main website because we did put it up on YouTube, but we could only put the first 4 minutes up because we were talking about ladies in gaming. Let's play from just before we had to. Just before we had to cut it. Let's do this.
Who is a lady and who is
This
not?
is the promotional video. Let's start, for those of you who are listening, with a lovely looking lass called Shapeshifter. Pronouns she, her.
Oh my God.
Let's see what this lovely lady has to say. Right, there we go. So you get the first 4 minutes on YouTube. And basically, it was, you know how if you're really good at something, including video games, you can win a tournament, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and if you're a lady and you're really good at it, you can win the ladies' tournament. But ladies don't tend to do well in the men's tournament.
Well, they don't tend to do well in anything like that.
Yeah, well, yes.
Even chess.
Yes, and then the men who were semi sort of good, but not good enough to win a tournament, realised they could enter the ladies' tournament. Well, no, they no. Hang on. This is going out on YouTube. They are ladies, and they realised that they should therefore enter the ladies' tournament.
Yes,
because they are.
They
ladies.
can compete with people on the same level as them.
Yes, and then they could win. So anyway, we covered. I can't even remember what bloody was now. It was it? It's one of the MOBAs. Was it Dota or?
Doesn't matter.
Or League of Legends. Well, anyway,
I think more the question is about if you have a situation which we're not even talking about swimming or strength, we're just talking about your mind. And Cora and Mickey would enter the room to be like, men obviously are better than women in every regard. Look at the chess players. And yeah, he'd be right. But then there's a unique circumstance of what if you aren't as good as Douglas Carlson or whatever, and then you just want to be a lady. And well, then you go to the ladies' chess department, don't you?
Yes.
And that can happen for anything.
Well, this went down some interesting rabbit holes because by the end of it, we were discussing non-obvious tells such as knee structure and
well, you gave some good advice for visiting Thailand.
Yes, very practical on that one. So that was the penultimate silly season, and then we got. Oh no, hang on. I should also mention potentially my favourite video of the year was my birthday was in October. So I decided to make a whole video where people could send me birthday congratulations, and then I basically just did that. Now, some people have said that was highly self-indulgent, but the way I looked at it was that if you produce content that you personally like, then surely that would mean other people would like it.
I mean, there's truth in that.
Yes.
But okay.
So that was my top video for October. I think they're right. So now, yes, the final video in silly season, which was Chirp. This is one of yours. How would you frame this one, Callum?
Well, we discovered that there are large cultural differences between the culturally enrichers and those who need culturally enriching, we're told. And it turns out that the difference is that us, demyelinated snow vampires, we don't have ceiling birds, whereas our good friends.
Well, no, we have them. They just don't chirp.
Yeah, they're silent. They just don't feel like chirping.
I mean, they have batteries or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
But for some reason, a bunch of ceiling birds don't exist in our houses, but do exist in other people's houses.
Yes.
And what was funny is actually that this wasn't something that turned into some kind of ADL article about the signs of racism as they talk about the ceiling bird. Instead, everyone actually just agreed it was funny.
Yes.
And loads of black TikTokers started making videos where they were just like, look, this is ridiculous. I can't believe people say, chirp. Okay, it's true. Leave me alone.
In fact, we have that. I'll come back to the bit that where was I? Well, I was on 8:17. Oh, hang on. I'm doing some live editing. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can do this.
And stereotypical. And this is what pisses me off about people. How are you going to stereotype a whole entire race?
To be fair, good on them for being in on the joke. You know what I mean?
Yes. So exactly your point. But hang on, I wanted to show 8:17, which is over here, which is the look of bafflement as this is attempted to be explained.
It's really funny. Where this chap here, he's always quite based.
Kevin Samuel?
Yeah. And he's explaining to this woman that it's happening and she doesn't know. And he pins it on single mothers. But
first of all, you're definitely a single woman because you got the single woman tell. That damn smoke detector.
Mm-hmm.
How do you live with that?
The way that I've been living with just being a single woman is
no. Specifically, the smoke detector that keeps chirping. How do you live with that?
Can you just elaborate more on like what do you mean by the smoke?
It keeps going beep.
Like red flags?
That smoke detector that's beeping in the background. There's a smoke detector. It beeps every 30 seconds and it goes beep.
Oh, this is so.
I don't.
For those
hear
listening,
anything
a look of
beeping.
genuine
Did you just hear it
confusion.
again? Because I don't hear anything.
Wait for it. Told you guys they don't hear it after a while.
Yes. The thing that I liked about this video is after you're sort of alert to it, you basically see it on almost every video that comes out of London now.
Yeah.
Like Sadiq Khan did a video the other day about the conditions that people live in because apparently they've got bad landlords.
And he immediately went to a woman who can't even speak English.
Yes.
She's got a free house from the government.
Yes.
And oh, woe is her. And for some reason, she had a sky eagle.
Yes, it chirping regularly, and that was the one where she was complaining about black mold after she taped up all the air vents. So yes, something you sort of notice. Anyway, right. So we had a bit of a silly time in early October because there wasn't much going on until a bunch of billionaires operating out of Qatar decided to end the Ukraine war. With Hamas pulling off their hearts and minds campaign, probably not completely understanding what you're supposed to do with those hearts and minds. I mean,
put bullets in them.
Yes. So it was a bit dark, this one, but yes, a quite a large nasty massacre to protest the fact that there's a big wall around Gaza, and to prove the point that you don't need that wall, they ran out, broke it down, and massacred everyone they could find. So, yeah.
I will be honest, I can make an argument for the Palestinian cause, but Hamas are just genuinely stupid.
Yes.
I don't know what the political move was here that was going to play out, because the hope that I've seen from people is like pure copium that, man, Iran was going to get involved if the Israelis went too hard, and then the Iranians just went, no.
Yeah,
we're just going to let you get killed.
Well, I mean, the US did move quite a sizable portion of their fleet to the area.
Because the Americans love Israel. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yes, exactly. But anyway, so that happened, and we did some very well-regarded coverage on that. And it is worth checking out, and it's worth going to the website and watching the full episode rather than the chunked up bit on YouTube. That was me, Bo, and Carl. We went quite deep on this, and we went significantly deeper than you get on any mainstream channel. And then in addition to that, Bo and I did a Brokenomics on Gaza, where we basically went over the deep history of this, and then the sort of history from the 80s and onwards, which was extremely well regarded and goes into great depth. So this is a subject that you're not particularly familiar on. Go and check that out. You can even buy that episode for $1.89 if you're not a website subscriber, and just catch up on that, and you'll be fully brought up to speed on that. So anyway, as you say, Hamas, you're a bit confused about their strategy of winning people over by basically just massacring everybody that they could find en masse.
Even if you're not winning people over, like what were you going to do exactly? Except get killed.
Yes, you say that, but the thing is, it actually worked.
What do you mean?
Well, throughout the West, lefties en masse rose up to support Hamas.
Yeah, well, they didn't do anything.
Yes. Well, well, that's true. I mean, it didn't actually achieve anything at a policy level, but I mean, it did garner support. So after having a frivolous start to October, we then basically spend a couple of weeks going through the rather bizarre attitude that Western lefties have on this subject. And there were many that I could have picked out, but I picked out. I think this is one of yours, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. So Ethan is a man who is concerned. He supports Israel.
Yes.
I think his wife used to be in the IDF or something. I think he might be Jewish as well.
Yes.
And then his co-host on his left-wing podcast is Hassan Piker, who believes that Hamas didn't do nothing, and frankly should have done more that they didn't do.
Well, in fact, let's play. You capture it quite well on the video.
H3H3 is now slightly concerned because it turns out that if you caught an audience of rabid leftists and you're a Jewish guy, it's not actually the best move, because it turns out a bunch of them are real anti-Semitic, and well, it's come to haunt him personally.
Can you explain? So that's the general gist of it. But yes, not to be insensitive, but left-wing Jews in the West have for a long time pushed an ideology which basically sanctifies the violence that brown people do against their oppressors.
As long as they're doing it against white people.
Yes.
But when it happens to Israel, then it's bad.
Yes.
And you can see this in specific figures. I mean, like Ethan Klein there being one.
Yeah, and you sort of have to wonder, did he never expect, I mean, presumably he never thought that this ideology would ever be used against him, or that the Jews were just an exception or something like that?
We did record like a big ass premium podcast, me and Carl talking about this.
Right.
But we're not sure if we're ever going to release it, because I don't know if it's suitable or not, basically. But one of the things in there I can talk about for sure is there was definitely this narrative within left-wing Jewish circles that whiteness was responsible for the Holocaust. And this is popularized obviously by American Jews. But that obviously makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because it's the Germans. So this is just becoming, as a result, a movement that wanted to punish whiteness for the Holocaust, which meant punishing the Anglo-Saxons, which are the only people on earth who defend you. That you don't live in China, you don't live in Africa, you don't live in Russia, you don't live in South America. You live in the Anglosphere and Ukraine and Israel. That's it.
Yes.
And in Ukraine, no one cares about Ukrainian Jews.
Yes.
Like, they're just not relevant.
Yeah, I mean, there were sort of many videos around this time, because of course, I mean, it wasn't just Ethan Klein who sort of got the raw deal on this. I mean, you had a whole bunch of these sort of universities polarizing, where the kids would come out and just immediately start celebrating Hamas. I mean,
calling them freedom fighters.
Literally celebrating Hamas.
And then all the professors were like, those kids might kill me.
Yes.
I was like, yeah.
Yes.
You probably shouldn't have done that.
Well, it backfired in a couple of cases, because I mean, there was this basically the Fortune 500 sort of got together and decided that they were going to blacklist any of the kids who belonged to the organizations that were calling for a celebration of Hamas. And you got to feel for these kids, because they've been trained basically since they first entered the education system to always and everywhere celebrate brown violence.
It's sort of like the Maoist era, when these Maoist kids were taught to go too far.
Yes.
And then Mao did a 180 and decided he was a rightist now, literally a quote from him.
Yes.
And then had them all purged.
Yes.
Like, bro, you literally set them up.
Yes, because none of, well, I mean, presumably these were a bunch of 110 IQ kids who basically just imbibed the message and went off and faithfully employed it and have now been blacklisted from a Fortune 500 company.
Decolonize the West. Oh no,
Yes.
not that part of the West.
Yes. So there was also there was a whole bunch of segments that we did on basically all the Western leaders for the space of about 2 weeks decided that they were now pro deportation.
Yeah, I mean that was the real beauty of the whole thing for us.
Yes.
Do not care about the conflict. Do
Yes.
not care about foreign countries.
Spoiler alert for when we get to your section on December, they were lying.
Yeah.
But for 2 weeks there was a bit where there was sort of pro deporting people in large numbers. And then they sort of dropped that. Right. Anyway, so we did that for a couple of weeks, and then what did we do? Oh yeah, this one got glossed over a bit. You did one on the most wonderful time of year. What is the most wonderful time of year, Callum?
Labour conference, of course.
Yeah.
Because you get to see the most neurodivergent people put on a show. And it's a hell of a show.
Yes.
So if you want to have a good time, I guess go check out this year's version. It was that.
Yes, it's a shame because I mean it kind of felt like this deserved more airtime. Because you sat there and watched God knows how many hours of Labour conference.
6 times 8 hours.
Yes. And I think we only got the one segment out of it.
Yeah, well, I don't really have that much time as I used to.
Yes.
So, like, I used to make like a proper compilation for each day and whatnot. It
Right.
just wasn't something we could do this time. Although there were some developments, which is they did become slightly less mental.
Did they?
Yeah, because I mean, last time they'd have loads of young people come up, and like
Right.
young mental people are proper mental because
Yes.
there's no filter.
And left wing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas this time around, like all of those people have kind of left because now Daddy Corbyn's not there.
Right.
So now it's all like 40-year-old bitter left wing nutters.
Right.
So
Yes.
they don't say as much mental stuff.
Bitter and jaded and just beaten into silence.
Yeah, they just
Yes.
want power so then they can exercise it on people they don't like. So they're willing to keep their mouth shut. They've learned they've got to do that.
Yes.
Whereas the literal children, and I'm talking 13 and up, who were speaking under Jeremy Corbyn's era. I mean, yeah, that was going to be funnier. I mean, this was some 15-year-old comes on stage in dungarees and tells us we need to end capitalism because of climate change. And it's just, I mean, you do just almost go,
I did like that the anti-noticing people themselves started doing a bit of noticing. There's a particular clip I want to play from this.
here, which is a local lady who also tells us that she lives in the most diverse area of London. In fact, it's so diverse, as she says, there's large amounts of violent crime. Her words. Okay.
The words are about to come out my mouth are the experiences of a 19-year-old teenager from an ethnic minority background. As much as I love my exotic olive-colored skin, people like me, unfortunately, more likely to be victims of all kinds of violence. I'm from London, the most multicultural city in the world. However, also a city that has the highest proportion of people like my parents, immigrants of ethnic minority background. Statistically, women like my mum are more likely to be victims of every kind of violence, however, also least likely to report any kind of violence. Why, you may be wondering, conference? Because of this Tory government.
I love Bo's face. Look at that.
I mean, she's done the noticing. She just hasn't quite arranged it in that little brain of hers.
The Tories have made my neighborhood so diverse that now my diverse mum might be raped.
Yes.
Can we ask why the Tories are responsible for that?
Yes. I mean,
this is one of the younger people, of course.
It's my area is really good because it's incredibly diverse. However, there's incredibly high crime.
And also my mum is at risk of sexual violence.
Yes.
Because of the Tories. What did the Tories do?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be some dude with red trousers and a pink blazer and a bow tie that is going to come along and rape your mum, to be honest. I think
it might be the locals.
Yes.
That's the thing you're actually scared of, which is why you said it.
Yes. So we're going to give her maybe a B+ for noticing and a D-, a D- for thinking about it afterwards. I don't even think this one is a 110.
No, that's what I mean. Like the Labour Party conference is definitely below the 110.
Yes, this might be a 94 or something like that. Right. What have I got next? Oh yes, I'm starting to run out of October now. But I do have to give special mention to what is the point of GB News. Who did this one?
GB News. What is the point of you anymore?
Oh, there we go. That's so the Harry's segment on. In fact, let's just play a bit more.
You started as a supposedly free speech platform to provide voices for more dissident thinkers, and now just so that we can put the spoilers straight out there, Boris, the most dissident thinker who's ever existed, pushing for literally a more global Britain. That's what he said. I'll play this clip in a moment to confirm it for everybody. But GB News is now just a place where Tory MPs and ministers can vent their spleen for a bit.
Well, and pretend to be right wing.
And pretend to be right wing. We're right wing.
Yes. You kind of nailed the point there. What is the what? If anyone watching this is watching GB News as well, why? I mean, they've got Neil Oliver left, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a TV, I mean, I might watch him.
There's Nick Dixon and Leo.
I don't know who they are.
They're good friends.
Right.
You got Andrew Doyle. He's doing a thing.
Right.
But
Okay.
you can tell, like, those guys. If GB News isn't a fan of saying you can't have sex with certain women, or you shouldn't be forced to, I feel like anyone telling jokes is definitely on the chopping board.
Yes. I'm not certain our average segment would sort of come out well if we aired it on GB News.
Well, we have reiterated multiple times that we also would not have sex with that journalist. And I don't care what Gordon Brown says, we're not going to be forced to do it.
Yes. No, I think,
means no.
I think I agree with that, actually.
I still can't get over it. That's the thing that there was the big right-wing split at GB News was, should you be forced to have sex with a journalist? Okay.
He was a right cow as well. Yes. So yes, don't know why GB News exists, but I felt that was worth highlighting because they basically done nothing to improve and everything to worsificate after that as well. So that's not good. Right. Have I got one more? Let's have a look. Oh yes. So I had to do a bit because every so often I like to do a bit on American culture because it is fascinating. We this is going out in December, and obviously they've recently had their Thanksgiving, which still mystifies me because I've referred to it before as a second Christmas, and they get very upset and say, no, it's not a second Christmas. It's just a time where we get together with the family and have a Christmas dinner. Okay.
I mean, it's not a bad idea, is it, though?
We'll have a spare Christmas, just in case you lose the other one.
I mean, Christmas dinner is the king of the roast, and the roast dinner is the king of the meal. So
yeah, I'm not complaining. I just don't understand how it works. I mean, I think it's because they're glad that the Indians haven't killed them or something.
Yeah.
I mean, why they pick the Indians as opposed to the Pakistanis? I mean, they both got nuclear weapons these days, but for whatever reason, that was a problem, and they're gonna have a spare Christmas dinner in order to.
When you put it that way, we should be having 50 Christmas dinners every year for all the people we should be glad haven't killed us. But
yes, but at least yes, people who could have nuked us or something. Anyway, right. So I'm not just fascinated by Thanksgiving, but also Halloween, which they take a bit more seriously. So I tried to cover this with my usual sympathy for our American friends. They're very straightforward people. What you see is basically what you get. And so 364 days a year, what you see is what you get. And then one day a year, they dress up as something that they're not. But just in case you're not familiar with Americans, here's an example. So these are all Americans.
Red-blooded Americans.
Yep. It's right. Now, I want to come back. I want to do a callback to my comment about 110s in the YouTube audience. Because if you look at the comments for this one, the amount of people who explained my own joke to me.
Well, that is foolish.
Yes.
I'll agree with you on that.
In fact, I made a number of jokes in here, but I didn't do the laughy clappy or play the soundtrack that indicates I'm doing a joke.
That is true. It's something I hate, especially about television culture, which is that they can't expect the people watching television to understand that a joke has just happened.
Yes.
So they have the clap.
Yes, and the laughing and stuff like that. Yes.
Do you get it, audience? There has been a joke. Enjoy yourselves.
Yeah,
it's kind of German.
If you can watch an episode of Friends where the clap and the laughing has been removed,
That's actually not too bad.
Right.
Big Bang Theory. That's the challenge.
Oh, right. Yes.
That's the S tier.
Yes. That's a good one. But anyway, but there are obviously people who are used to that, and when I do these segments where I make these sort of deadpan jokes, the YouTube comment section, the people explaining my own jokes back to me is I think that's quite
That's
special.
what you're angry about.
Yes. Anyway,
I agree with you on that.
so so that was October. Started a bit boring. Big massacre. Everybody forgot about the Ukraine war. We were in favour of deportations for 2 weeks, and then that all sort of got forgot about. And then what else happened? Oh yes, left-wing Western Jews decided that they might have made an error.
And then Halloween happened.
The Labour conference, GB News imploded, and I did mourn American culture. So yes, a good October, I think.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to check out the merch store and see mugs like this. Upon the conduct of each depends the fate of all. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.